Hello, I'm Salim Abraham. This is the story of a 24-hour period that changed the grammar of modern warfare forever. Imagine, if you will, a Monday evening in Kiev. The air is crisp, with the scent of a blooming Ukrainian spring. The streets are busy, not with the chaos of war, but with the defiant rhythm of a city that has learned to live under the shadow of a sword. Then at precisely 8 p.m., the sound arrives. It's a low, mechanical drum, a sound that has become the hunting soundtrack of the 21st century. It's the sound of the shahid. But this wasn't just another raid. This was the opening note of a symphony of destruction. Over the next 24 hours, Russia would launch 948 drones in Ukraine. To put that in perspective, that's nearly one drone every 90 seconds. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must look back. In 1940, during the height of the Battle of Britain, the world held its breath as the Luftwaffe sent hundreds of bombers to break the spirit of London. Back then, it was a battle of the few brave pilots in Spitfires taking on massive manned machines. Fast forward to March 24, 2026. The cockpit is empty. The pilot is a line of code or a teenager with a joystick sitting 1,000 miles away. Russia has taken the total war doctrine of the 1940s and digitized it. This wasn't just an attack. It was a saturation strike, a tactic designed not just to hit targets, but to paralyze a nation's defenses through sheer, overwhelming volume. The assault unfolded into distinct, brutal movements. Under the cover of darkness, 392 drones and 34 missiles slithered through Ukraine's river valleys. Their goal? The power grid, the logistics hub, the civilian hurt. In Ivano-Frankivsk, tragedy struck with a surgical cruelty. A National Guard soldier who had just celebrated the birth of his newborn daughter was killed alongside his 15-year-old child outside a maternity hospital. A place of birth turned into a site of burial in a matter of seconds. This is where the history books will rewrite. Traditionally, drones are creatures of the night, but on Tuesday morning, Russia did the unthinkable. They launched a second wave of 556 drones in broad daylight. Why? To exhaust the crews, to force the defenders to look into the glare of the sun. It was a digital blitz aimed at a very psychological fabric of the Ukrainian people. But if Russia's goal was to prove the total war theory, Ukraine's response was a masterclass in modern resilience. Of the 948 drones launched, 906 were downed. That's a 95.5% interception rate. In any other era of history, such a defense would be considered a miracle. During the Allied 1,000 bomber raids on Germany in 1942, a 10% lose rate was enough to ground an entire air force. Today, Ukraine's mobile fire team's modern-day hunters in pickup trucks are achieving the impossible. Yet the cost is staggering. Ukraine is being forced to use million-dollar interceptor missiles to swat away $20,000 suicide drones. It's an economic war of attrition, where the defender is being held dry by the cheapest of the offender's weaponry. The tragedy of this raid wasn't just measured in lives, but in history itself. In Lviv, a city often called the soul of Ukraine, a drone struck near the 19th century Bernardine Monastery. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a relic of the Renaissance that survived the patricians of Poland, the Napoleonic Wars, and the horrors of World War II. To see its ancient stones scarred by a plastic and fiberglass drone from 2026 is a jarring reminder. Russia is not just fighting for territory. They are fighting to erase the cultural memory of a nation. As President Zelensky put it, this escalation proves that Russia has no intention of ending this war. So why now? Why 948 drones in a single day? The timing is not accidental. This massive escalation follows the stalling of peace talks in Florida. In the cynical world of geopolitics, when the talking stops, the kinetic diplomacy begins. This was a message sent from the Kremlin to the world. We can sustain this. Can you? Furthermore, military analysts suggest this is the shaping phase of the spring-summer 2026 offensive. By saturating the skies now, Russia hopes to blind Ukrainian sensors and drain their ammunition stocks before the heavy armor begins to roll across the 1,250-kilometer front line. The 948 drone raid will be remembered as the moment the front line died. In the age of the swarm, there is no rear. Every hospital, every monastery, every nursery is a target. It's a grim evolution of the Blitz, a technological terror that tests the limits of human endurance. Ukraine stood its ground on March 24, but the sky remains crowded. The question is no longer who has the better pilots, but who has the deeper stockpile of drones and who has the stronger will to keep looking up. Facts inform, but stories transform.